Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hello and welcome back to Joe on Joe Extreme. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and we are back this week to watch episode 6 called Relics. This is a very kind of really fun episode and an important episode in the scheme of things because it puts G.I. Joe Extreme firmly in continuity with G.I. Joe Real American Hero. And we're going to talk about that today with my guest. He's my new friend, and he's been asking to be on the show for a while, actually since we stopped the previous show. So for a year, Anthony and I have been chatting on Facebook, talking about when are you going to start recording new episodes. Well, here we are, and welcome to the show, Anthony Innabi. Anthony, welcome to Joe on Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, I'm very glad to have you on, my friend. So, Anthony, you are a student of history at UC Irvine. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is there a piece of history that you're studying or really getting into, or just explain that?
One of the history courses I have is on union labors,
Okay.
labor unions, rights, stuff like that.
That's great. And are you gravitating towards that part of the field?
No, I'm hoping and maybe figuring out of teaching as a career for my future.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I was a big fan of history when I was a kid. And I think, and I still am, but I haven't studied it like you are. And, I think G.I. Joe pulls from that, because it's military. Military history is kind of the history of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Armies conquered countries and things like that. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So, and then also when I was a kid, Serpentor was all the greatest historical leaders, so as like a 10-year-old, I was like, yeah, history, let's make Genghis Khan alive,
Honestly, I will be honest with you. G.I. Joe, I wasn't like you because at the time I was born around almost the 2000s. So some would like to say the newer stuff.
So you're not an old fogey like myself.
I've seen some, but I've seen more of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember the week of the first live action movie, Adult Swim showed a more, I would say, darker and I would say teen-based G.I. Joe movie / miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good, but I don't know where I can find it anymore.
Well, do you remember? Was it so? It wasn't the miniseries, the original miniseries, was it?
No. It was like a new miniseries movie, like 4 or 5 episodes in the one movie.
Oh, it was probably like G.I. Joe Resolute or something.
I think it was because
Yeah.
the animation style was like
It was more modern.
Yeah, exactly. It was more
Yep.
modern.
Yeah.
It was a lot darker. There was more adult.
I think you're talking about G.I. Joe Resolute, which was pretty good. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And listeners, we are going to get to that.
Yeah, but like I said, that's some of the newer stuff. I do remember some of the older stuff. However, the stuff we were going to talk today, that I'm not familiar with.
Well,
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, well, get in line. There's a lot of us. I've been talking to a lot of the Joe bros out there, and one by one, they all go, "Yeah, no, we don't know anything about Extreme. We don't know anything." Like they know a little bit about the toys, but I don't think they ever really sat down and watched the cartoons. So far, so good. We've done 5 episodes of the cartoon, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. Now, last week on Joe on Joe, we watched the Sergeant Savage episode, which after watching it, I realized, oh boy, I should have done that first. And you see why in today's episode, Anthony, because we learned that Sergeant Savage is the same Sergeant Savage from last week's Joe on Joe episode, where he was kind of like a man lost in time, like Captain America. And
So did he have like the themes of Captain America or just character traits?
He was like a soldier that was frozen in World War II and revived in the modern day to fight against evil. Fight against, in this case, Scar. So, and they're still using that for this version of the Sergeant Savage. So that tells me that puts the actual one-shot Sergeant Savage in continuity. And then that tells me that puts G.I. Joe Real American Hero in continuity with G.I. Joe Extreme, because Cobra Commander and Hawk and Lady J and Doc all showed up in the Sergeant Savage episode. Which brings it all the way back to Gem and the Holograms. G.I. Joe Extreme exists in the same universe as Gem and the Holograms. That's what we're here to tell everyone today.
Oh my god.
Can you handle that, Anthony?
Sure. I
Yeah.
wasn't that interested in Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah, but
like you, I was more interested in the original G1 Transformers.
Totally. Well, they're also in this continuity. They also are crossed over. G.I. Joe is in the same world as the Transformers. So G.I. Joe Extreme exists alongside Transformers, Gem and the Holograms, and G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I am happy to say that, ladies and gentlemen. That's exciting. Anthony, you were here for that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so crazy.
Now, Anthony, I know you're a big comic book fan. In fact, you and I chat a lot about comics and stuff online. What city are you in, Irvine? What city are you in? You're in.
Well, right now, since the pandemic, I came back to my house. I still work. I still do school, stuff like that.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. So where are you at? What city?
Altadena.
Altadena. Okay. And how is the pandemic treating you, actually?
Well, I mean, it's fine. I work. I'm with my folks. I walk a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my video games. So.
Well, that's important. What are you playing right now?
I just finished Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, so good.
And the new Modern Warfare. I haven't done Spec Ops yet because there's more story to Spec Ops.
Yeah, Modern Warfare. There's a lot. Modern Warfare. I recently played that for a little bit, and I had to stop. There's too many. There's too much. There's too much in it now for me. And I've been playing Modern War, Call of Duty for years. I
just finished it, and there were a lot that was like a bit too realistic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's also that. Absolutely. Yeah. There's just too many like. Every gun you have to level up to level 50 to unlock everything, and there's and like there's all the different patches and there is it's too much. It's like it's a paralysis of choice for this gamer, and I don't enjoy it. I did enjoy Call of Duty World War II quite a bit.
Yeah, I honestly think the World War II Call of Duty was a bit better story, because honestly a story like that was like really good.
Right.
The campaign, like the main, like the cinematics, the combat, all of it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And first two Black Ops were great.
Yeah.
Third and fourth is like I like the campaign for third because you can add zombies in the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But fourth is just BS. It's all. Have you watched Angry Joe's video game channel?
No.
He reviews all video games, stuff like that, and honestly, some of the games he's reviewed, I've played, whether good or bad, reviewed. So honestly,
well, so during my pandemic video game lockdown, I've dug out some games that I bought and literally never played. So I went through and I played South Park, Fractured Butthole, the sequel to.
I still haven't. I played.
I love it. It's great.
I love it.
I don't enjoy the combat. It's really kind of not my style, but it's so funny and so well made.
It is.
It is like, such a delight.
I just wish that they added like bleeps, because if you have Trover Saves the Universe, there's an option where you can put bleeps on it, and it's hilarious.
Oh, funny. Yeah, it's watching a 20-hour episode of South Park, and I just continually laugh. It is the one game I will not skip a cutscene on. It is so much fun.
Honestly, I read an article from Matt and Trey saying when they made the first game, The Stick of Truth, they made it as said like one continuous like episode, like a special, and that's the same with the Fractured Butthole.
Totally.
I think I forgot where I am. Oh no, sorry, I forgot where I'm at. I think where I remember is that I'm at where they used to have this outdoor thing, and there's ninjas. Yeah. I don't have the money. Yeah, I don't have the money to pay them to not kill me. And
you know what? That money you're never gonna make that much. It's like $5,000.
Yeah, it's $5,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. I looked it up online because I beat the game, and I was like, all right, what can I do to like 100% it? And one of the things was that, and basically what I could find is you literally have to grind out $5,000. I was like, I'm not here for that.
The only game I ever 100 was Spider-Man.
Oh, that's a great game.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 beat all of the competition to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man from the PlayStation 2. By the way, I even still have the walkthrough book for Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
And it's like 10, 15 years old, and it's still in good condition.
Listen, some Spider-Man has had some great games over the years.
Here's the thing, though. Have you ever played Web of Shadows, Shattered
Yes,
Dimension?
yeah, I
Have you
enjoyed.
played?
I thought they were great.
There was a sequel to Shattered Dimensions. It was just Spider-Man and 2099 Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever played that one?
I believe so.
Okay. Those were the 3 best Spider-Man games I ever
Yeah.
played after the second Sam Raimi Spider-Man
Yeah,
game.
the Shattered Dimensions one and the one that was Ultimate Spider-Man with Venom.
Oh yeah,
That-
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was great, and they continuity tied that into the actual comic book, the Ultimate
Yeah,
Spider-Man
there was
comic book, because Bendis wrote it.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, but I don't think they used Ultimate Avengers in the Spider-Man.
No, I don't think they did either. Yeah, Spider-Man's such a great video game character. He is made for it because he lives in a city. He swings around in a city. But he likes to be on the ground. You know what I mean? So it's like perfect. Like where Superman. I just was reading an article. They were Rockstar, the guys who made Batman.
Yeah,
We're supposed to be working on a Superman game, and apparently they were working on it, and it got
but they
abandoned.
canceled it?
Yeah, it got canceled last year, and so now news is
Yeah.
coming out that it got canceled.
Yeah. Have you heard the new rumors that they're making a new Batman? It's not going to be Arkham. It's going to be based on
Court of Owls.
Owl.
Yep. And apparently they canceled Superman and shifted that team to work on the Court of Owls.
Now, yeah,
for
now,
PS5.
it's going to be for PS5.
Well, for that era, I'm sure it'll be on both consoles, but for the
Yeah.
next generation of consoles, yeah.
Now, what I heard about a couple of years ago, they were going to make 2 other games. They were supposed to make a Suicide Squad based video game,
Mm-hmm.
and they were also going to make a Damian Wayne Batman game, but he was not going to be Robin. He was going to be Batman. There was going to be similar aspects to the Arkham series.
Yeah.
And I saw some artwork, and there was a shot of Two-Face, but he wasn't regular Two-Face. Do you remember the episode of Batman the Animated Series where he had a third identity called the Judge?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's what he was going to be based off in the game.
Oh,
they were
fun.
going to use, they were going to use that identity for him in the game.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw some of the concept art that was cut. It looked pretty good, but I guess they cut a lot to make this new
Well,
Court of Owls game.
we've diverged into superhero video games. What I was gonna real quick follow it up on is I'm playing. I finished South Park, and now I am playing. It's a couple years old, but it's the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Wildlands, and they've got some tremendous character customization tools on there.
Yeah, honestly, I think some of the older Tom Clancy games are better than the new ones.
Well, I've just been running around as Snake Eyes, is what I'm here to report.
Did you?
I dressed my guy up as Snake Eyes, and
So you mod your guy to look like Snake Eyes?
oh yeah. So I'm just running around the jungles of Bolivia as Snake Eyes, straight up assassinating fools. I could see that you could do a mean beachhead with it. Like you could they really have some great customizations in there. So you could really capture for any of you Joe players out there. And I'm assuming I haven't played a ton of the Tom Clancy Ghost stuff, but I'm assuming this level of customization is kind of standard. It's more intricate than anything I've seen on Call of Duty.
Honestly,
go for it because it's so much fun. It's the only time we're going to get a good G.I. Joe game.
Yeah, honestly, I've never gotten into the Ghost Recon stuff. I was more into Splinter Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think some of the earlier Splinter Cells that were on the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, that stuff I was into. I never got into the other stuff that came on, like the PlayStation 3.
It's fun. I grabbed this one because I'd heard that it has a Predator level. Yeah, and I think I found it, and it is, at least where I'm at, I am having terrible difficulty getting into it because I keep breaking the first rule of not being fine. Let's put it this way, it's difficult for me.
Is he using thermal vision on you?
No, I haven't even met him yet. I believe I just met the guy that gives me the mission, but I have to sneak into a base, and I cannot do it for the life of me. But that's my cross to bear, Anthony. So today we are going to watch Relics. It's all about Sergeant Savage. Are you excited for this?
I guess.
Oh, you better be, my friend. Hey, listeners, while you're out there watching Relics and G.I. Joe Extreme and Googling, where can I watch episodes of G.I. Joe Extreme? Why don't you go and follow me at Joe on Joe Pod? That is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Say hi. If you want to be a guest on the show, just like Anthony Innabi here, you can reach out and send me an email to joeonjoepod@gmail.com. and I'll be happy to have you on. We've got, at this reading, we've got about 20 episodes left of G.I. Joe Extreme, and it is a lot of fun. I have ripped copies of all these episodes, so I am sharing them with my guests, and they get themselves ripped copies. So actually, there you go, listeners. If you want to get yourself a copy of one of these episodes, be a guest on the show. That's your reward. So, Anthony, without any further ado, we're gonna jump in and watch some G.I. Joe Extreme. You ready?
Sure.
All right, buddy. Well, listeners, get your play buttons ready, and here we go. So what do you think about this live action opening?
It doesn't look bad, but because it's a rip DVD episode, stuff like that.
That is the problem. It's the DVD quality is not great. I really would like Hasbro to not remaster this. I can't imagine there's any money behind it. But
I think
just
Shout
clean
Factory
it up.
could do it.
Shout Factory could do a great job. Just
like
clean
for
it
Christmas.
up.
Yeah, like for Christmas, I got my dad the entire box set of Ultraman and Shout Factory is the one who did it.
Oh yeah, Ultraman's great.
Yeah.
So what we had in the live opening was Sergeant Savage fighting with a robot. Basically, it's one of the Scar robots that they always fight against. Now, I don't know, Anthony, if you know that every time we see one of these live action ones, it actually corresponds to action within the show that we're going to see. So
Okay.
if you're at home and watching this and G.I. Joe Extreme comes on and you see Sergeant Savage beating up a robot, you can assume, awesome, I'm getting a cool Sergeant Savage episode today.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Okay.
What do you think of this music, Con? What do you think of this Extreme song?
It's cheesy. I'll say that.
There he is. It's pretty great.
But
It's fun.
Yeah, but some of the character models don't look all that bad, I'll say.
I think the animation is decent. I think for my money, the models, and we've said this before on the show, the models are just a little too beefy. So it's Relics, written by Matthew Edens.
Yeah.
And this is, we get Rampage, who is the Scar agent who kind of hulks out and turns into a green monster. But he's also apparently in like an Iron Man kind of suit.
It kind of looks more like Ironmonger instead of Iron Man.
It does. Yes, it does look like Ironmonger. Or I was thinking, it looks a little bit like the Melter.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah. So he takes off his Iron Man-y helmet and then he turns green with rage like he normally does, like we've seen him.
Oh.
So my question that I'm really curious about is like, was this what his action figure was going to look like?
I don't know. Maybe it could have been done differently, but I'm not sure though.
Yeah, because we've debated on the show like what was their plan for his action figure, and what I really realized the other day, I was doing the Black Dragon file card, and on the back of the card, what they have is they do have the designs for these unproduced characters, and I think that's how places like Wikipedia was able to have the list of all the quote unquote unproduced characters. So
now,
there is a Rampage, and Rampage does look like he does look in this episode. So the Rampage toy was going to have this Iron Man look. He wasn't going to be like a green monster. Maybe he would have had a green face underneath the mask, but yeah. So what you're seeing here is what his action figure would have looked like.
Now, is this action figure issue? Is it like the rocket-powered Boba Fett action figure, or no, is that completely different?
No, it's not like that. Like that was, they made a couple, prototypes, and they decided to recall it, and then some of the prototypes have gotten out on the collector market, but they never put in production. These are, from what I can see, they were just planned for the line, and then the line never was made. So they just were canceled. But the pictures on the back of, in this case, the Black Dragon card, show Mayday, and it shows Wreckage and Rampage and Harpoon.
Now, was Rampage the only? Well, not only, but I presume there were other characters that didn't get their figures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mayday was one of those, and so was Wreckage, as was Harpoon. I mean, they never even made a G.I. Joe airplane. Like they only made the airplane for the bad guys. They didn't even get around to making the G.I. Joe one.
Yeah, like the original GI Joe, I think one of their biggest sets was it looks like a helicarrier.
The the aircraft carrier.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
yes, yes.
USS Flag. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, I watched a lot of comic book men, so
Oh, nice. Yeah. So
yeah.
you do get into yourself some comic books. What do you collect them? Do you just read them online, or what is your connection to comic books?
Mine is both online and the print. I mostly got into comics first through the Ultimate stuff, the mostly through Spider-Man, and I got into some X-Men, but mostly that was Spider-Man. By the time I was in middle school, my dad forcibly, who my mom disagreed to, took me the weekend of to see Watchmen in theaters.
How old were you?
I was about 12 when the movie came
Oh, it
out.
was a terrible idea.
Yeah, but it was worth it though. I still saw it, but my eyes were shut for a bunch of scenes. Anyway,
Well,
so
real quick on the show, Sergeant Savage and I believe that's Ballistic. They are breaking into this. I keep wanting to say Cobra, this Scar base,
yeah,
and so that's the mission that they're on.
yeah, yeah. So
So you were exposed to Watchmen at a young age, the movie.
y- yeah, and I didn't get into the comic until until like high school,
Well,
college.
that's good. I've said this a lot. I don't know if I've said it on the show. If I have, listeners, pardon me, but Watchmen is not a comic book that should be given to people who are just getting into comics
Yeah, I
at
will be
all.
honest. I will be honest with you. I know what Moore thinks of his work, but what Snyder said as to see, he did the movie not for people to get into the comic. He just wants people to understand what the comic is if you've already read
Oh,
it.
I like the movie. Yeah. I like the
Yeah,
movie, and I love the comic book. It's just not good for new comic book readers because it's a comic book about the comic book industry and
yeah,
about the creation of comic books and ownership
yeah,
of comic, and like there's all these subtexts and layers. And yeah, it's
yeah,
a fun, good murder mystery and adventure stuff, but the brilliance of that book, and it's brilliant, don't get me wrong, the brilliance
yeah.
of that book is it's about the industry. So when like brand new people are like, oh, I've never read a comic book, and you hand them Watchmen, I feel like that's the absolute wrong wrong move to do.
Yeah. I think before I saw or read any of Moore's work. No, actually, no. I correct that. There was one thing I saw before Watchmen. It was V for Vendetta,
Oh,
but it was on TV,
oh
so
yeah.
my dad let me watch it.
Yeah, hold on. So we're getting a little history here.
Ah,
So this is we're in deep underground with Iron Claw, and we see that their scientist has uncovered a dude who's actually Genghis Khan's greatest general. We're going right back to commercial. We'll be right back. Listeners, I know what you need in your life. You need more podcasts. And you also love movies. So why not do a podcast that's about not one movie, it's about not two movies, it's about 3 movies and a meal. I'm talking the Movies and a Meal podcast. This show is great. It's brought to you by Keith, Brad, and Ben, and each week they bring a new movie to the table, which they all discuss as a group. And it's not, your highfalutin movies. It's What We Do in the Shadows, The Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Out of Sight. It's Bad Education, Ghost Rider, and A View to a Kill. It's X-Men Last Stand, Queen Sugar, The Mandalorian, and Major League 2. They are a lot of fun to listen to. You guys know Ben. It's our friend Ben Pensarga. He was a guest on Joe and Joe. In fact, Ben was the very first remote guest that I ever had on this podcast, so he's always got a special place in my heart. I'm really digging this. I just started listening to it last week. It is a lot of fun. They bring a guest in. The guest, I listened to their Heathers episode. They were joined by Kelly, and she went in depth on her favorite movie, which was Heathers, and it made me want to go watch Heathers to watch with them. I really dig it. So guys, find them out there at Movies and a Meal, Twitter, Instagram. Their website is moviesandameal.podbean.com. They put out 1 episode a week. Give them a listen, guys. Support them. Let them know Joe on Joe sent you. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It is quite entertaining. And now back to the show. So we're back from the commercial, and so Iron Claw has uncovered a frozen Genghis Khan general. very much. It's very shades of Serpentor here.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, and they're working with a like one of their top scientists, who his name escapes me, as Ballistic and Sergeant Savage are attacking. So we still haven't gotten to the cool stuff that I love about this, the continuity stuff where Savage flashes back to his origins and stuff. But they're making their assault now. So you were saying you watched V for Vendetta on TV, and did that hook you?
Dude, I was interested by it. I didn't get any of the political subtext until I was older.
I was very impressed when that movie came out in theaters, and impressed that Warner Brothers would put a movie out that promotes that. I mean, it's a great book, and I enjoy the movie a lot. It promotes anarchy in every way possible.
Yeah,
I was shocking that they allowed the Wachowskis to make that movie. It's great.
I think it was about 2-3 years after the last Matrix movie that they made it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Wachowskis could do anything at that point.
The lab to revive him, and the world.
Yeah, no, literally, like I said, when I was younger, I didn't get any of the political subtext till I was older. But Hugo Weaving was definitely a good choice for V in the movie.
Oh yeah, he was great, and I love that as an actor, he said yes, don't show my face the whole movie, even though he was, it's not like it was a stunt man; it was just his voice. That was him on set playing that role the whole movie, but he allowed them not to show his face. Versus roles like I remember in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, in Iron Man, it happens a lot, where Spider-Man was constantly having his mask ripped off because he wanted to see Tobey Maguire, or Iron Man would always lift his face mask up because he needed to see, what's his name, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
and it's no, don't I want to see Spider-Man fight, not Tobey Maguire, so on and so forth.
I think that kind of fits the Iron Man thing with the second movie, but Spider-Man, they solved
the Iron Man problem very, very smartly by giving him that heads-up display, so you can see his face, but the bad guys can't.
Yeah.
But you get the end of the first movie when he's fighting Ironmonger, and his helmet gets knocked off, and it's as soon as he loses that helmet, it's ball game. Ironmonger just brain him in the face, and he's done. But it's just classic. So now they're thawing out this Genghis Khan general. And if this sounds familiar, it's because it's what we were talking about with Sergeant Savage. He was frozen for all these years. So possibly could this be the scientist that put Savage in ice?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I think it is. And look, and they're
good to see you too, Doc.
They're having recognition.
Me and you.
Oh, that's great.
How nice that we all know one another. Now, if you'll excuse me.
What's great is that doctor, since he wasn't frozen in the ice, and G.I. Joe Extreme takes place in the future of our future, that doctor should be 150 years old right now.
Yeah.
If he was around if that doctor was around in World War II, he should be 150.
Yeah, that was the same with Captain America, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to their credit, though, he is old. They are definitely not drawing him as a spry youngster, but he should be a lot older than what he is.
At least though in Endgame, they did fix the one thing with Captain America, is that he's with the super soldier serum years on. It's supposed to start to make him older. In the in all the movies, like all the Captain America movies, it never started to do that up until the end of Endgame.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows how long he tossed around through time. I mean, the soldier serum does keep him young in the comics pretty much as long as they need it to be. And then if it wears off, he gets older. And then when it revitalizes, he gets younger again.
Exactly.
But in the neat thing that they did in Endgame, which I really, really, really pray that they follow up on, is when Cap jumps on that the time platform at the end to return those stones. That is that's a whole adventure that he could go on. We could easily see a movie, 2 movies, a TV series, whatever, of him returning the stones throughout time.
Yeah, but
that would be. I would love to see that because
but you know how Marvel is. Oh, sorry.
Well, no. Oh, what do you mean?
Well, normally when they want a character to continue, normally, I think Robert Downey Jr. and Chris, not Chris Pratt,
Hemsworth. Chris Evans? Yeah, there's too many
Chris
Chris's.
Evans. No, because I was thinking Captain America.
Yeah.
My guess they would have to had signed a new deal because
Oh yeah.
what my understanding was is that after Endgame, Evans' contract was
It is up. Yeah, it is up. Yes, it is up. Yeah. It is up. And so they did write themselves out, but I feel like they left an in if they wanted to bring him back for, a project, they could cut him a massive check, and that project would be gangbusters.
Oh yeah.
Give him a couple years off to make more movies like Knives Out, which is fantastic.
I never saw it. I wanted to, but I was just busy.
We're going to commercial. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Today's file card features on the Scar agent, Rampage. J. Remington III is an arms manufacturer who operates legitimate business fronts and black market deals. Rampage is Scar's primary weapon supplier. However, he seeks to eliminate Ironclaw and seize control of the organization. Rampage possesses the ability to transform into a grotesque, devilish, green-skinned creature. In addition, he also wears high-tech armor in battle that has guns on it that often vary from a chain gun to a rocket launcher. Rampage is a difficult one to do a file card on because Rampage never got a released figure. However, over at Yojo.com, that great resource, they have a Extreme Rampage carded prototype. So, and we know that he was pictured on the back of one of the other actually released Joe figures. This is it's a high-res image, and it looks great. He is very angry. He does have that Iron Man, Ironmonger-esque suit on. His face is a 90s image model of like anger. His mouth's wide open. He's screaming. He's not green, but that would have been exciting if they had made him like color change green or something. But he looks good. His guns are, of course, it's the 90s. They're massive. They look more like power tools than guns. I like Rampage. I think he's an exquisite weirdo. Between being the arms dealer, he wants to run Scar, he turns into the Hulk, but he dresses like Iron Man. He is so all over the place. I think he's absolutely insane and fits perfect in with G.I. Joe Extreme. So, Rampage, J. Remington III, we salute you. So, Scar is getting away. Sergeant Savage has hitched a ride to their airplane in the wheel well, which, as we know from, I don't know if you've ever seen any news stories about people who've tried to hitch rides in airplanes. That will kill you because it's unpressurized and you have no air and you'll die. But Sergeant Savage does it. And the cool thing is they're transporting this Genghis Khan general on a platform very much like Han Solo and Carbonite. He's floating. They don't have him on the ground. He's actually on a floating like Carbonite platform, which is neat. They even give this doctor a nice German accent. Further tying him in with the World War II Nazis.
Yeah.
So we've got the James Whale-esque Frankenstein laboratory that's bringing this guy to life. Savage is busting. Savage has a lot of grenades. And so this is the scene from the live action part where Savage is fighting the giant robot. That is this scene right here. That's what they just made. Yeah, that's great.
Savage to stone! Savage to stone! Come in, Lieutenant! I hate this newfangled technology.
Like I said, if Evans wants to, not Evans, but if Disney wants to do it, then they would have to talk to him. Maybe
Well, I mean, they'd have to back up the Brinks truck, but a Captain America, let's say movie or even a TV show, for Disney Plus would be gangbusters. Chris Evans and Chris. How about Chris Evans and Agent Carter traveling through time and space, returning the stones together? That would be fantastic.
Interesting, but I guess because of Agent Carter's show itself and what the ties and everything like that, I don't know how they could work that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Haley Atwell. I think she's fantastic.
Yeah,
I think they're bringing Agent Carter back on this final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now here we go. We're getting flashbacks. This is Sergeant Savage's origin, and this is him remembering being frozen the first time. So Sergeant Savage is he's waking up and he is he's having these cool flashbacks to his origin as we see this Genghis Khan wake up. And what's wild about it is Genghis Khan is the Genghis Khan general, not Genghis Khan.
Yeah, no.
His entire wake up session is 100% in. There's no dialogue. It's like they compacted a scene that was scripted and just put music behind it like a music video. So we just gloss over his entire resurrection and wake up. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But now we're going to get a nice sword fight between Sergeant Savage and Genghis Khan, the Genghis Khan guy. So, Anthony, we like to ask on this show if you can be a member of a G.I. Joe or Cobra, or in this case, G.I. Joe or Scar, G.I. Joe Extreme, or Scar. Which team would you be a member of, and what would your code name be and specialty be?
I guess Cobra.
Okay, you're going to join Cobra. I like that.
Because the way how they did Cobra's mask in the second movie looked pretty good.
Okay, I like that a lot. So you're going to join Cobra, and what would your specialty be? What would your specialty?
I guess guns.
Guns? Okay, well, listen, you're a history major, right? You're studying history. You're going to UC Irvine for that. So I would say perhaps you're an expert in like all forms of historical weaponry. So you don't use the modern, like they come out and they're like, here's a new whatever, Beretta. And you're like, I don't need that. I'm using a perfectly replicated, Luger from World War II, or I'm using, you know what I mean? Like you're using old crossbows from the 18th century. Like you use all these old weapons to a skill level that no one else can match, and so no one complains about the fact that you're using all these old weapons because you're murderous with them. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? Your name would be?
The Marksman.
The Marksman. I like that. What about history teacher? Or historical? Like hysterical, but historical?
Hysterical.
How about hysterical?
Yeah, the hysterical.
But like HISTERICAL. You're hysterical.
Yeah.
You're the insane historical weapons master.
Yeah.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hysterical. Welcome to Cobra. And more importantly, welcome to the Joe on Joe team. Extreme! Hysterical. I like that.
By the way, are you the one screaming extreme, or is that someone else?
You mean am I cocking my head to the right and going, extreme?
Yes.
Yes, that is me. Now,
Okay.
here's the weird thing. So on this show we're watching, we've now gone, the show just ended and they saved the day and, shocker. But now we're going into the PSA, and the PSA is a good one. It's about boat safety, and you've got Harpoon jumping into the water to help save these 3 kids who were screwing around on a motorboat in the lake, right? And it's cool. And it's cool. And it's it's good. It's smart. I like it. Now, the weird thing is on this recording, there's going to be another PSA right after it. And I don't think that that's a mistake of the recording. I think the TV show ran with 2 PSAs on it, which makes me think that scene earlier. See, here's now the second PSA is starting. It's the baseball one about the kid needing eyeglasses, which we've covered on a previous episode. That scene earlier I was talking about where they took all the elements of Genghis Khan guy waking up and they shrunk it into a music video. There was no dialogue. I have a real weird feeling that whole scene was normal dialogue and an actual part of the show, which for whatever reason they had to truncate and make it into they had to shorten it for whatever reason. I don't know, budget or something. And then they just ran this one to cover the final minute of the programming, the 22 minutes that they had to cover.
That's off.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, because I'm fairly sure that this isn't the guy who ripped these episodes just randomly putting PSAs on this. I feel like this is what showed on TV the day they recorded this.
Well,
and you have that weird section in the middle. So I think that's what happened there. I'd love to find out more.
Yeah. So like I said, I think Shout Factory got like like all the episodes. And
Oh, it'd be so good.
yeah, honestly, there's a couple movies I think Shout Factory should fit, but there's a lot, and I
I
can't.
love Shout Factory. Big shout out to Shout Factory. Their prices are they're not the cheapest place you can get them from, but they do such good work and they curate it. I always try to buy from them a couple times a year.
Well, the problem with me is that where I got the Ultraman DVD, I didn't get it from like a regular shop here in
Right.
out.
Well,
I had to go to Chinatown.
Oh boy. Well, sometimes they do exclusives. That's the cool
Yeah.
thing about Shout Factory. Yeah, they do exclusives, and so I like it's smart to wait for a sale or something like a free shipping sale to usually buy through them. But their special editions are dynamite. Like they do a wonderful, wonderful job with them. So I'm a fan. Like I said, about 2-3 times a year I'll jump in. I know that their Scream Factory stuff, they do all the John Carpenter stuff,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad showed me the first, well, not first, but like he has this minifigure of giant robot since I was like 5,
Mhm.
and he showed me a video of it. And he told me about it, and that's how I got into the whole. Well, no, not really. Some of it was that, but some was that when I was a kid, me and my cousins, we used to watch the old Japanese Godzilla movies.
Sure, those are great.
Yeah, they are. So
Mondo,
from that,
yeah,
my own
Mondo
pops-
just put out a wonderful box set of all
Yeah.
the Godzilla books or books, the Godzilla movies. It's absolutely dynamite. So
Yeah.
Anthony, or should I say hysterical, thank you for joining me this week, man. This was a real pleasure. I know we've been waiting for a year. I appreciate your patience with with just waiting for me to get back to recording. So I'm really happy that we're doing this, my friend.
Mhm.
I hope you enjoyed yourself today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, listeners, once again, thank you for joining us. Anthony, thank you for taking time out of your day to be a member of the Joe and Joe team. Hysterical. Good luck in the field with all those Cobra troops. I'm assuming they'll break all your old weapons. But, but I appreciate you, my friend. And listeners, I appreciate you. Remember, follow me online at Joe and Joe Pod. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send me an email to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. And most of all, now you Joe, and Joeing is half the battle. Extreme!